Hello there. Welcome to another workshop provided by the University Transfer Center at Allen Hancock College. Today we will be giving some tips and support in completing your University of California admissions application. This workshop will focus on applying for fall of 2025. Will include general information as well as some tips, some frequently asked questions, and some screenshots. So let's get started. So when you're applying to the UC, you will be able to create an account at the UC application website. You definitely will, through this workshop, be able to start working on it. We recommend that as you're listening to this presentation, you can actually start getting going on the application. Maybe just really kind of follow us along on your actual application when we share special screens and things like that. We definitely want you to keep in mind important deadlines because it's not just about knowing how to apply, but also making sure that you stick to those deadlines and respond timely, because otherwise, obviously, your application could be withdrawn if you don't comply by the deadline provided, to especially when it comes to submitting transcripts and things like that. Alrighty. So if you don't already have a UC application account, not to worry. Just go to this website URL that's listed on the lower part of this slide, or you can just basically Google UC application and you can't miss it. You'll get all kinds of hits that take you to apply.universityofcalifornia.edu. So keep in mind a few points that can really we want to commend you with these points for having chosen to apply to the University of California. It provides an excellent option for higher education for our students, not just in state, but also students that choose to come from out of state. So one of the first things that we'd like to talk about is the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan. This is a grant that will guarantee you that if you are a student that comes from a family that makes less than $80,000 a year, you will receive free tuition at the UC, and that is like a straight fact. All you have to do is file the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, or you can also fill out the CADA, which stands for California Dream Act application. You only have to do one or the other, depending on which one applies to you. Most students apply through the FAFSA. There's a few students that would have to use the CADA. That would be students that are undocumented. We also refer to them as dreamers. So whether you do the CADA or the FAFSA, that's how they will verify your family income and determine if you will be guaranteed to have free tuition at the UC. In addition to beyond that, additional grants, additional scholarships, and additional aid. They also have a very significant pot of money in the way of scholarships. So the scholarship matches is something that comes up on the application. So there's a screen that's going to ask you to check off as many of these areas that apply to you, and that means that you will automatically be screened for those scholarships just by checking them off on your application. So the application is integrated into their scholarship application as well. There are more than half of the students in California who are currently attending UC that do not have to pay system-wide tuition fees, and 71%, excuse me, of California UC undergrads receive grants and scholarships. So the wide majority of the students studying at a UC are receiving some form of financial aid, averaging nearly $18,000 a year in financial aid. So of course, some students receive a lot more than that as well. 45% of the California students complete their UC degree with no student debt whatsoever. And the average student loan debt when leaving the UC is $10,000 less than the national average. So by just selecting to go to UC, odds are you're going to finish your bachelor's degree with less debt than the average student across the US. On the average, 70% of California community college applicants have been admitted to UCs since 2017. So they're doing better and better in offering admissions to transfer students, and 70% of students who apply and get in is a very significant achievement. Things that you're going to need to complete your application is a printed copy, ideally, of your college transcripts. So that would be any college that you've attended. If you don't already have your Hancock transcript, feel free to come into the University Transfer Center, and we would be more than happy to print the version of the transcript that we have available, which is a lot easier to read than the version that you have available through your portal. We're more than happy to do that for you. It's really easy when you have the transcript printed along the side, because you're entering your coursework can move a lot easier. And also we recommend that you enter the courses in the same order as they are displayed on your transcript. That will make your review at the end when you're ready to submit, and you want to review all the courses and make sure that you entered everything properly. It'll make that review a lot faster. UC transferable units that you've completed is also very important for you to know. Not everything that you took with us might necessarily be transferable. We don't have a whole lot of non-transferable courses, but there could be some students that are still taking non-transferable courses out there. So it's important to know what your UC transferable unit count is. Obviously, you would not want to apply with less than 60 units. The majority of the schools would not consider you unless you have at least a minimum of 60 UC transferable courses. You will also be needing your 2023 income tax information. The application will ask you what your family income is, or your income if you're an independent student. And that information will determine if you will be granted the application fee waiver. So that will be embedded right into your application. You will actually know whether you need to pay for the application at the time you fill that income information out. You will also need a summary, or at least, a knowledge of all your activities, work experience, awards, honors, military service dates, all of that you will be able to enter, and you will want to enter it because it will actually have a positive impact on your comprehensive review. So if you don't already have that listed, or if it's kind of a little rusty in your memory, you might want to sit down and just start jotting some of those down. Just kind of do a little bit of a quick take on a list, maybe a bullet list of the activities that you've been involved in. You would also want to meet with a counselor and do what we call a transfer evaluation. It's time to cross all the T's and dot all the I's, and really have this conversation with your counselor. Like, really, is there anything else that I can be doing to maximize my chances to compete successfully? You still have spring semester coursework, left as an opportunity to impact your decision, your admissions decision. So if there's any classes out there that can improve your chances of being selected, you'd want to know about those, and you'd want to add them to your spring coursework. You can also, have a chance to sit down and review your transcript, just make sure that there's no D's or F's out there that you have not repeated. Have a conversation about, if there is, would you want to repeat those courses next semester, or might you be eligible for something called academic renewal, which is when you can actually fill out a form and submit it with the assistance of a counselor, and be able to have those D's or F's, what we call substandard grades, be removed from your GPA calculation. Doing that will also allow you to list those course grades as an AR grade instead of a D or an F. And therefore, again, the universities are okay with that. They honor that academic renewal, also known as grade forgivens, and you would be able to improve your transferable GPA on your application by doing that. This is a great time to do your final review and research on universities, and double, triple make sure that you are addressing any major specific requirements, again, counting all the units, just really understanding if there's going to be a supplemental application that's required, just anything that's specific to the campuses that you're thinking of applying to. It's a good time to do that final research. Be prepared to pay $80 per campus that you will be adding on the application, unless the fee waiver is granted to you again via the application. So with the one single UC application, of course, you can add as many as 9 campuses. You can apply to all 9 undergraduate campuses on this application, but it would cost you $80 per campus that you decide to add. So the application fee waiver again is embedded, so don't worry about that. You will know, and you'll see a screenshot to give you an idea what that's gonna look like. So you definitely want to start a transfer application for all the documents that you're going to be compiling. They're going to start adding up. You're going to be receiving numerous emails, especially the higher number of campuses that you apply, the more documentation that you're going to be faced with having to organize in a way that you can retrieve that information quickly. So whatever system works for you, whether you're more like a tactile learner, you prefer maybe paper, you might want to have some an email maybe folder where you archive all of that, or maybe you print things and you put them in a folder, whatever works for you. We definitely do recommend that you have an organized paper trail of all the communication that is pertinent to your admissions, financial aid, housing, everything having to do with transfer. Plan to have your application reviewed by a counselor at Hancock before you submit. You would be amazed how many errors we find. So right now we are in the thick of the filing period for fall 2025. We have already reviewed hundreds of applications, and I can tell you that there's only been one application I have reviewed that did not have an error. So take advantage of the service that we're providing you. Make an appointment. You can make the appointment in the same way that you normally make appointments with your counselors, by just clicking on schedule counseling appointment on your portal. And the recent code for that would be application review. We're here for you. When we creating your university application account, make sure that you use a non-school related email. Your school email, your Hancock College email in this case, will be obsolete a few months or a few semesters after you leave Hancock and or you stop enrolling with us. And that email address will stay perpetually on your UC records. That is a way that they also will rely on communicating with you should you stop attending their campus. So make sure that you have a reliable non-school related email that you actually put down on your UC application. The UC does an excellent job at providing assistance and support for you throughout your application process. And they also do have a website that is dedicated to assisting you as a transfer student with any FAQs or any situations that might arise. You simply need to Google admission, use University of California, how to applying as a transfer. Or you just maybe copy and paste this URL from this presentation and go ahead and get some answers for your questions. There's a couple of other links that we would recommend. If you're a veteran, we definitely want you to take advantage of all the support that's available at the Veterans University of California page. And there's also a similar webpage with tons of information and support for undocumented students. There's also a centralized page that will actually enumerate programs and support services for any student. All you got to do is Google UC programs and support services, and you'll find this long link on your search. So let's get started then with some important screenshots for your application. The first and foremost tip that we would like to provide just came up this week. So a counselor emailed us and asked, what could be going on with the student that this counselor was working with. This student was not able to select certain campuses on her application that she wanted to apply to. So the counselor was asking, why could this be happening? So this screen in front of you has a lot to do with it. So if you had selected that you are a sophomore level transfer, meaning that you would be completing or transferring with less than 60 units, there will be at least a couple of campuses that would not be an option to you, because those campuses will only consider you if you have 60 units. It used to be that pretty much all of them would exclude you from applying if you had less than 6 units, but that's changing a little bit in the recent couple of years. So there could be some UCs that might still consider you. Doesn't mean you will be very competitive, but at least it's still a possibility. The best category to check off and to apply under is junior level transfer, having 60 to 89 units. There are a couple of campuses, UCSB is one of them, that will not take you if you have reached senior level transfer. So if you have completed 60 units, once you hit that 60 unit mark, excuse me, not 60, 90. Once you hit that 90 unit mark, you are now considered a senior level transfer student. And there's at least 2 universities that would not be an option for you. And again, UCSB, our local university, would be one of them. If that applies to you and you really had your heart set on UCSB, especially if UCSB is maybe your only realistic choice of a UC to a transfer to because of our geographic location, and being that that's the only UC campus you have an option to attend without having to, leave home, then I would recommend that you meet with a UC representative and see if there's anything that they can do to assist you. So a few more notes about the application. Be aware that there is tons of assistance available throughout the application. So a perpetual link that will always appear on the upper right-hand corner of every screen is the help link on the upper right. Feel free to click that. Also, there's several questions that will actually have a blue dot circle with a question mark at the end, and that's another way of just getting a little bit more details about what they are expecting you to respond on in that particular area. So take advantage of that assistance. This video is posted, as you know, at the UTC page. We always update it every semester. We'll post a new video. You can always come back to this as well. Navigating the application is fairly easy with the UC application. You will always see this perpetual menu on the right-hand side, no matter what screen you're on. You will always see that right-hand side menu. This is basically the sections, the areas of the application. So this is what's going to be, asked. So they're going to ask you some information about yourself. And if you click on that the right pointing arrow, it'll drop down and show you all the sub questions that are listed under that category. For example, in the About You section, they will be asking you personal information like your contact info, your name, all that kind of stuff, citizenship, your background. This is where they're going to be asking about your parental household income. So, and then consequently, the rest of the sections, your campus and majors, that's where they're going to ask you to list the majors that you want to apply under and the campuses to which you're going to be applying. So you can navigate through this whole menu. You can skip around. You don't have to answer all of those sections in the order that they appear, although that is highly recommended. I think it'll make your application completion go smoothly and perhaps lessen the probability that you're going to maybe leave something blank and then later get an error message that says like you need something, you left something unanswered. So just, kind of feel it out, click, kind of get familiar with the application, and definitely try to answer it in some orderly kind of fashion. When you're done entering all your information, you will have the ability to review everything that you responded and that you entered on your application by just clicking on review and submit. This produces a very nice and easy to read PDF version of your application, which you can also print. Usually when we review your application, that's really where I personally start. I just open that up. It makes it go a little bit quicker. Everything's more sort of at a glance kind of a format. And so I take a look there, and then if I see anything that looks a little bit like maybe there's an error in there, or that seems like definitely we need to make some corrections, then we go into the particular section and then make those edits there. Okay. The citizenship and residency question is huge. Of course, this is the one that A determines your tuition basis. So will you be paying out-of-state tuition or California in-state residency tuition? So those of you who might be undocumented, it's very important that for your country of citizenship that you indicate no selection. That is literally a choice in there. You're going to be tempted to say, well, I was born in, I don't know, Africa. I'm an African citizen. And you would be tempted to choose Africa because that's what it is, right? But you don't want to do that if you've been living in California and you have an AB 540 status. That means that you can be entitled to say no selection because otherwise it would automatically put you in an out-of-state tuition type of framework, and you don't want that. So undocumented students, just choose no selection on here. Let's see. I think I want to go back and add that you will also be asked for your social security number or an ITIN number if you have that. You can actually respond to that as well. And if you don't know what an ITIN number is, Google it. If you don't have a social security number, I would encourage you to apply for an ITIN number immediately. So the family size and income is another important screen. So make sure that you have that correctly answered. Make sure that you're including everyone in your household in here. The household size does have a big impact on whether you are going to be approved for the fee waiver or not. So you can include anyone in your household, including siblings that might be sort of on their own, like perhaps maybe they don't live with you guys, but they're going to college and your mom and dad help them out. And when they come home, they don't pay rent. So basically, you could say that maybe your parents actually provide 50% of their cost of living. So likewise, if the sibling is living at home with you, and they do their own taxes, your parents don't claim them on the tax return, right? But they live at home without having to pay rent. That would constitute that sibling receiving at least 50% of their cost of living or more by your parents. So then your parents can claim them as part of their household size in this particular instance on the applications for admissions. And that could impact the fee waiver as well. Okay. The fee waiver, after you've answered that question, it will actually take you to the next step, which will be, or when you actually get to choose your campuses, it'll say, okay, choose Merced, Merced, UCLA. So of course, every campus you choose is going to add your fees to like, oh, you owe $80. Now you owe 160 and consequently, like that. And then it'll let you know, hey, you've qualified for the UC application waiver, so you can apply to 4 campuses for free. So that'll be a hooray moment, right? And so that would mean, of course, you get to apply to 4 for free. And if you want to apply to more campuses, then you'll just have to pay for the additional campuses. If applying to UC San Diego, be aware that the application is going to ask you to rank the academic colleges of interest. So these colleges have nothing to do like with your major. These are just learning communities that they will place you in. They'll place you in, they'll do the best they can to place you in your top choice. You'll have to rank all of them. From the highest, the one that you're the most interested in belonging to. Say it might be Earl Warren College. That's your, number one choice. So you can actually go down the list and rank them. There will be a link on there where you can actually go and learn more about the academic colleges. So plan on spending a little bit more time in this screen if you're applying to UC San Diego. It's the only UC that asks that question. And that question will only come up if you listed UC San Diego as one of the campuses that you are applying for. Next comes the academic history section, which is where you're going to be doing the heaviest lifting, I think. So this is where you're going to be entering all the courses that you've taken with us. If you did complete or create an account on the UC Transfer Admissions Planner, also known as the TAP account, then you will be able to import all the courses that you entered at that moment. You could just log into your TAP account. There is a login for the TAP embedded into the UC application. And as long as you use the same email address on your TAP account as you used when you created your UC application account, the two systems will talk and merge your courses, and that'll save you a significant amount of time on your application. So now you get to the point where you're entering your classes. If you took, say accounting 130, financial accounting, you're going to go ahead and see, let's say you took it in the fall of 16. So you're going to see under the fall of 16, you're going to see all these choice of courses, accounting through zoology, let's say. And you would just click accounting 130 because that's what you took in fall of 26. You enter the grade that you earned, and then you click out of there and then go click on the next class you took. Say that was an administration of justice. You'd click on that right pointing arrow. It would give you a drop menu, and then you would actually enter that course grade. So you'll just be doing that for fall of 16. Once you've selected all the courses you took in the fall of 16, then you would go to the next semester that is showing up for you. These semesters that are showing up for you are based on the dates of attendance that you reported for this particular college. So we're in, let's say, suppose this was the Allen Hancock College, because maybe you only went to Allen Hancock. If you attended two community colleges, you'll have a section for each community college, and the semesters that will pull up under that college will be based on a previous question that was asked. Oh, you attended Hancock? From when to when? And if she said from fall of 16 to the present time, then it will actually fold in all the semesters that fall in that time period. Keep in mind that if you took College Now courses or concurrent enrollment courses where you actually received Hancock College credit while you were still in high school, you should still indicate that your dates of attendance at Hancock are spanning from that first semester when you took a college level course. Even if that was during your sophomore year in high school, let's say your sophomore year in high school was 2022. You say that you started Hancock in the fall of 2022, right? Even if you only took one class there. And let's say that you didn't take any classes in the spring of 23. It's okay. You won't add classes then. Okay? So that's how you will continue to do this. Just make note that the grading symbols are up here so that they're actually going to pull up in a kind of like a drop down menu where you see grade A. It'll give you all the options of grades to put in. So there will be a grade for academic renewal. That would be if you petition for academic renewal on a D or an F that you earned. Now you're not responsible or held accountable for putting in the D or the F. You can actually put in, you still have to report the class, but now the grade can be academic renewal. And that's a way to prevent this application system from using that D or F in your transferable GPA calculation. So the AR basically nullifies that D or the F, and it improves your GPA instantly. So you definitely want to have a conversation with your counselor about maybe submitting an academic renewal petition for courses that you have a D or an F in. Okay, moving along. Courses that you did repeat, the UC application is a little different than the Cal State application. With the Cal State application, a D or an F that was taken again, and maybe you did earn a better grade that next time. So that first time you took it with a D or an F, you would not have to report it as a D or an F. You would just report it as an RP grade for repeat. And once again, similar to with the AR grade explanation, the RP also shields and protects your transferable GPA. In this case, the UCs want you to report the D or the F. They do not have an RP option. And that's because they actually programmed their application system to be able to recognize when a course is entered for a second time. In this case, right in front of you, you can see that Music 100 was attempted in the fall of 22, and the student received an F. But the student attempted it again in the spring of 2023. So in this case, the student just puts in the F, and the system is programmed to ignore the F because it knows that you took it again, and it's only going to calculate the D into your GPA calculation, not the F. So that's pretty cool. There's a section that's going to ask you to indicate scholarships and programs that might be applicable to you. So this is where they'll ask you if you're interested in the Educational Opportunity Program, which is a program that serves low-income first-generation college students. So you might want to Google UC EOP income guidelines to see if maybe you're eligible before you say yes, or maybe you could just say yes. There might be some additional well, I don't think there is going to be much else that you need to do. So I think if in doubt, say always yes, because that might give you additional support. So then once you get to this section that asks about activities and awards, so this is where you're going to be listing anything that you have been involved in. And make sure that, again, you jot your memory about everything and anything that you've done. Ideally, it's things that mostly centered around what you did while you were a student at the community college. But if you did do, maybe you were highly involved in high school, maybe you were involved in something that you continue to be involved in, or maybe something that was just very admirable and that was very significant. Maybe you should still include that, especially if you don't have a lot to include during your community college experience. But you will be allowed to enter up to 20 activities and awards. Try to enter as much as you possibly can. All right. It's going to be reflecting on you favorably, and the UC does have a review process they call a comprehensive review. So they not only will be looking at your grades, they will also be looking at, were you involved? They'll be looking at your course load. Did you take rigorous loads, rigorous courses? Were you involved, and how many hours, and that kind of a thing. The personal insight questions is a way for them to also be able to review you in a more comprehensive way. This is a way of you being able to maybe allow them to get to know you above and beyond what they might be able to glean on if they just looked at the list of courses and the grades you took, right? Or you earned. So here in this section, you will be asked to answer 4 questions or speak to 4 questions. The first question is required of all transfer students, and it's going to ask you to describe how you have prepared for your intended major, including your readiness to succeed in your upper division courses once you enroll at the university. The other 3 questions are going to ask you a variety of things, and you'll get to choose from a list of 7 courses or questions. You'll get to choose 3 of them. Okay, so start brainstorming early. Totally recommend that you get a paper and pencil or type on the computer. Just maybe if you find one of the questions that really calls to you, just start making some sort of like a brainstorming tree, right? Like, what are some bullet points that I could possibly bring up as part of my response to this question? And just maybe start with that bullet list. And then from there, start writing more of a narrative. Though don't get fixated on the fact that this is an essay, because it's not an essay. They are not looking for perfect grammar, punctuation. That's not what they're concerned about. They will be the first ones to tell you this is not even an essay. It's just some short personal insights. That's why they changed the name to personal insight questions. People used to call it the essay, the UC essay. It's not. Just some short answers from the heart. Really, who are you? What kinds of experiences have shaped who you are? How do you react to, maybe like, obstacles? What have you done to improve your community? Those are the kinds of questions that they're going to be asking. And so maybe choose the ones that that you think will reflect you in the best positive light. We do have 2 workshops that will be offered to assist you with the personal insight questions. So make sure to visit the University Transfer Center website for a list of those workshops. And definitely have maybe 2, 3 people to review your responses and give you some feedback. So important deadlines to really keep in mind is that the application for the fall of 25 filing period, that deadline for the application period is December 2nd, this year, of course, 2024. It's an extension. Normally it would be November 30th. We do highly encourage you to try to submit. We like to say before Thanksgiving, because as you know, we will be getting close to finals as you come back from the Thanksgiving break. And also the system starts to get slow and bogged down with, all thousands of students that are using the same application system. And so try to submit early to save you time and stress. Um, we recommend that you don't submit transcripts. They do not want your transcripts until they've requested you to send them. And they will make it very clear when you need to send them. They will send you an email, and they might also, actually not might, they will put a reminder on the university portal, because they will be giving you access to a portal with their website. And that'll probably be sometime in December, definitely by January. Um, so check your email often, because they will be giving you instructions for how to set up this portal. And we recommend that you don't delay on that. Set up your portal as soon as possible. They will be relying on your portal being active, because that's where they're going to roll out reminders. And they roll them out whether your portal is active or not. It's going to post the portal. Whether you see it or not, it's going to be there. And they're going to be assuming that you have read this information and that you have been notified about some deadlines or some items that you need to do to complete your application. So I cannot stress enough the importance of you setting up those portals right out the gate as soon as you get the invitation to do so. So if you completed the UC tag application, so you tagged, you requested guaranteed admissions consideration, you may receive communication by November 15th. There's a couple of schools that actually will let you know if you were confirmed to have been admitted under the tag agreement. Other schools will just not let you know until the spring when they send you the final official notification. So next steps after you apply is to definitely do your FAFSA on time, or your CADA on time this time. With the universities, it does make a big difference as to how much financial aid you will be awarded, but whether you applied by the March 2nd priority deadline or not. So we cannot stress enough the importance of you submitting your FAFSA on time for the 25-26 school year and adding all the universities to which you applied. Remember, in January, when you do your FAFSA, you may not know who accepted you yet. You won't know that until April. So we need you to go ahead and add all the schools that you applied to, whether you know that they've accepted you or not. Just add them. It's free to add them. It's better to add them and have them have some financial aid ready for you than to decide that you're going to go there and now you're considered as having applied late, and maybe you did not get as much aid offered as you would have if you had added them on your FAFSA by March 2nd. So just do it, and definitely be very active in researching and applying for scholarships. Definitely visit the Allen Hancock College Financial Aid webpage to learn what scholarships you might be eligible for. And also with housing, we recommend that you leave all the options open, especially living on campus. Many students have this myth, this belief that it's always going to be automatically cheaper to live on off campus, and that is not the truth, especially with schools that are in large cities, inner city, where rent is highly expensive. You might be better off living on campus. So definitely leave that option open. Also remember that in January, the UCs are going to ask you to go back into your application. They will open them back up for you to log in again and do what they call the transfer academic update. So the TAU, you're going to go back in there and you're going to now enter your fall grades as well as your winter grades if you took winter classes. So make sure that you keep your grades high this semester and in the winter. This is your last opportunity to increase your transferable GPA that they will be making a decision on. And then also they will ask you to update your spring class list that you entered on there that you would be taking. So they will give you that opportunity to confirm, did you enroll in those classes that you listed, or do you need to make some changes to your reported spring courses? And again, the portal, it becomes very important and that you do it on time. So last, just want to give you a couple of links once again, the transfer admissions planner, in case you have that completed, and then also the University of California application website. Other than that, we are just so happy that you have tapped into this recording. We hope that you have found it useful. Don't forget to follow us on social media and to also contact the University Transfer Center if you run into any other problems that cannot be resolved through you watching this video on your application. Don't hesitate to just come in or call. You can also come in and just work on your application here in what we call the UTC lab. And that way, if you get stuck on a question, one of us can come out and help you. Thank you so much for watching. We wish you the best in your application process. Thank you.